A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find its pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day. This is a special episode in a series of podcasts based on Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. For several years now, I have gone back to the habits taught in this book to prepare for the coming year and home in closer and closer to my lifelong dream and my goals so that I could more effectively achieve my goals. Year after year, we hear people joking about setting New Year's resolutions and then abandoning them by February. Personally, I don't find that very funny. I hope that your resolutions are more important to you than to give them up after only a month or two. What if you were to set 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most resolutions or goals for 2024, and then at the end of 2024, find that you nailed each one of them? You can. I set 2 goals that to me were very large. As I talk about in the Motivational Devotional, I had to change and grow to become more than I was in order to achieve those goals. As I say this now, I have done that. I changed. I grew. I achieved. Starting with the November 27, 2023 podcast and running through the New Year's Eve podcast, this series offers 35 episodes of principles, inspiration, and motivation that I use toward fulfilling my own lifelong dream. I have audacious goals for 2024, but only 3, because more than that will water down your efforts. I will achieve mine by this time next year. You can do the same. And I hope you will pursue yours with relentless intent. If you find these helpful, please go to the Motivational Devotional Facebook page and let me know. For now, let's get on with it. Surely you remember the story of the little engine that could. There was a train full of toys and things for children that was on its way to cross a mountain range, so the children would be gifted with all those things, but the engine broke down and couldn't go any further. Some of the toys, like the clown, giraffe, and dolls, tried waving down other engines that passed them by. The first few were too haughty and full of themselves, being too good to stoop below their station and haul a train of toys and candy and other goodies. After all, they hauled passengers or important things or were big and strong and couldn't be bothered with a small little train of toys. One train was simply too old and tired, or so it kept telling itself. Finally, this little engine comes along that only moves train cars in and out of the station house and does little things like that. It's never been over the mountains, and it's never pulled an entire train. Ever. But here is a significant lesson in this story for having a can-do kind of attitude. This little engine could have been like the other engines and given a bunch of legitimate excuses as to why it couldn't do the job, and nobody would have thought much about it. But the little engine looked at all the toys and all the stuff loaded into the train and realized that on the other side of the mountain would be lots of boys and girls that wouldn't experience the joy that all this stuff would bring. A can-do attitude is essential in being proactive, and your can-do attitude will be made a whole lot stronger if it is fueled by compassion and purpose. We know the rest of the story with the engine hooking up and then saying all the way up the hill, I think I can, I think I can. And then when it looks like it almost might not make it over the top, it does. And then all the way down the other side, it says, I thought I could, I thought I could. Another critical lesson in this story is that life-changing goals and fulfilling that compassion and purpose require us to do things far beyond what we've always been able to do. When I look at my 2 goals for next year, I know that at this moment, they are beyond my capabilities. But I not only think I can, I know I can. because I rose to the challenge and built myself up to accomplish the goals I set for this year. Imagine a person weighing 98 pounds soaking wet who wants to bench press 350. Not going to happen that first day, is it? Do you have a dream or dreams and a goal or two that compares to that scenario? Most of the New Year's resolutions for people have to do with losing weight. People give up by February because they blow the plan. Well, I set a goal in January to lose 50 pounds in 2023, and I did it by June. Some days I ate cake. One day at work I had 3 donuts. I caved several times and maybe got a burger on the way home from work or had a few hot dogs at a cookout at work. So out of those 150 or so days, I blew it, maybe 8 or 10. But the other 140, I was on target with my plan. I worked out, I stayed positive, I dropped the last of those 50 pounds, and I pursued my other 2 big goals, which were to get this podcast running smoothly and finish and publish a novel I had been working on for almost 10 years. I had a lot to learn, but I did keep saying, I think I can, I think I can. I had to find someone to do the opening music for me. I found someone to do the web graphics. I had to learn how to record a clean, professional-sounding voice track and mix it with the other audio. I've done the rest all myself, but I didn't know how when I started. I almost gave up on this podcast because it was a lot of work, and it still takes significant time to write an original piece every day, and my ADHD makes it difficult to stay with it. But a good friend told me that it was good, and I shouldn't quit. You need people like that to help you over that top of the mountain. Late in the summer, another very special person told me they started listening to it and got a lot out of it, and I shared that I had almost given it up, and she said, "Don't you dare." Yep. Having other people cheer you on and tell you that you can do it is essential to keeping your can-do attitude. Your big dream and your audacious goals need to address someone else's hopes and needs. You can have a dream of building a massive mansion, but who's going to live in it, visit it, enjoy parties in it? If it's just for you, is that really powerful enough to make you grow into the person who can do it? That little engine not only pushed itself over the top of the mountain, but it was pushed by the needs of the children on the other side. If there were only 5 people in the whole world who ever listened to this podcast but got something out of it every day, I would still do it. That's not the case, though, because as of November 28, 2023, episodes of the Motivational Devotional have been downloaded nearly 1,900 times. I'm not saying that to brag, because in the whole arena of podcastdom, if that's a word, it's not huge, but I say that because it's a lot more than 5 a day, and that's more than enough for me to see that you who listen are, to me, the people on the other side of the mountain, and now I knew I could. I knew I could. All those people would never have heard these podcasts if I had quit. You can do that too, with your dream. Imagine if, for that little engine's every excuse of being small, inexperienced, and all that, another character concurred and said, "Oh, yes, you're right. That's just too hard. You probably can't do it." We would instead have a children's story that simply reinforces the message that if things are too hard to do, they probably aren't worth the effort or the time. Have you ever had anyone tell you that you can't do something? They may not say those words. Maybe you say you want to do some big audacious thing, and somebody mutters, "Yeah, right." 2 words. Just 2 words, and you could get derailed before you start down the track. Hearing just these words may convey a sense of hopelessness. It certainly isn't very uplifting, is it? How amazing is it that in just 2 words, pessimism can be shared and felt? Without being aware of it, we share pessimism like a flu virus when we simply respond to someone's negative comment by saying, "I know that's right," or we laugh at negative or cruel jokes. Being a can-do person means being can-do for other people too, and telling them what my friends told me. You can do it. Don't you dare stop. What would it take for a few sentences, or even those 2 words, to instead fire you up? There is one place where we have absolute control in life, and that is in that instantaneous moment between what we hear, feel, or see, and what we tell ourselves about what we are hearing, feeling, or seeing. Somebody says, "Yeah, right," and you can either tell yourself that their negative assertion is correct, or you can say, well, let's keep it family friendly. You can say, "Heck with you, I'll show you, yeah, right, I'm going to do it anyway." That might not get you over the mountain, but it will get you out of the train depot. None of us wants to be the little engine that could not, and none of us wants to be one of those engines that made every excuse to not rise to the occasion. If you've never thought much about having a lifelong dream and you're like, "I don't know, I'm not sure what it would be," then ask yourself this. What human hurts or hopes compel you with a sense of compassion, righteous anger, or indignant frustration, and you want to ball up your fists because of it? Well, there's a good place to start. Maybe that's what you feel because you were created to be someone to pull that train over the mountain. Being can-do starts with can-do thoughts, even if those around us have can't-do habits. The divine power within each of us is far more powerful than any can't-do muck we have to wade through. But the more muck you endure, the stronger you will be. Each of us has the power right now and in every now moment to take can't-dos and can it, because all of creation is conspiring in our favor. Trust that the universe always has your back. Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "The mind is the limit. As long as the mind can envision the fact that you can do something, you can do it, as long as you really believe 100%. Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @threefoldaway radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.